Welcome to Life Inspired Podcast. This is the podcast you've been searching for. A space where us lifestyle junkies can vocalize our dreams, share our lives' visions, and the journey we've experienced together. I'm your host, Kayla DeLargy, and my whole purpose for these episodes is to connect with others, inspire and support them along their personal journeys, so that way all of you listening can not only feel empowered, but accepted, and that you too belong here and your dreams matter. These episodes are not only meant to bring you something different, but a fresh spin on how the everyday soul is living out their true passions and a life filled of adventure. For the end of each episode, you will not only feel inspired to take action within your own life, but you'll now have the tools, the strategies, and the support to start paving a pathway towards your dreams. Remember, a life inspired stays inspired. What is up, guys, and welcome to another life-inspired episode. And today is all about one of my favorite topics, fitness. But it's not just getting or being physically fit that we're going to talk about. It's all about having a strong mindset to create any kind of peak performance you're after. See, today's co-host is a top 5 fitness competitor, fitness and magazine model who left behind her career as a successful realtor to pursue her dreams of competing. With a purpose of helping people harness their power, please help me welcome the incredible Michelle Wininger to this week's Life Inspired episode. Michelle, how are you, girl? I'm so excited you're on today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited too. I'm fabulous today.
Good.
Fabulous every day.
I love it. You look fabulous too.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. Well, tell our listeners a little bit of a backstory on you, because obviously we've kind of crossed paths in the social media space, so I'm familiar with your story, but I would love for my listeners to get to know you a little bit better and kind of what's brought you to the place you're at today.
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually don't share a lot of the backstory on all my social sites. More people know me through real estate than they do in any other space, which is where I kind of entered the business world, the entrepreneurial world. And I've since kind of gotten away from that for so many reasons, and we'll probably talk more about them today as we get further along. But today, I'm excited because I've kind of transitioned into the fitness arena, the fitness space, more along the lines of personal performance and development, which to me, the whole journey and path of fitness competing is all a mindset. So it kind of one led to the other, which led to the other.
I love it. And I saw on your slogan, it's like mindset and performance. And I loved that because I'm like, it's totally true.
Yeah, mindset. And I had a little bit of I'm not much of a box person, and I have a difficult time when people say, "What do you do?" and "Who are you?" and "What do you coach?" Because I'm such a free spirit, and I like to keep things open. I'm a Pisces, so I like to be moving and shifting and creating and all of that. And when I sat back and I said, "Well, what do I really do?" and it just kind of hit me, and I said, "I'm a mindset and performance coach. I help people really uncover their own power. And it doesn't matter if it's the fitness arena or relationships or um, business, life. It's all goes back to your mind and the power of the mind."
I could not agree more with you. I love that you hit on that too and make it such an important aspect of like your journey, because I feel like no matter what we try and do or accomplish or have in our life, if we don't have our mind right, we are either going to self-sabotage or going to stop enjoying it. We're no longer going to feel fulfilled. So I love that you focus so much on that, because that is kind of your superpower and we all have
All
it.
of the, yeah, I love that you kind of highlighted that, because that's all of those reasons are what kind of led me here. And all of those reasons are kind of what held me back from competing sooner.
Right.
Competing as a fitness competitor, I wanted to compete in my 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 39 now, and what held me back was, a lot of things, but it was really the not having the mental toughness. And um, interestingly, I had hired a relationship coach. I hired a relationship coach to help me attract love. And we were was in Australia, and we were on a Skype call, and she looked at my shoulders and said, "Have you ever thought about competing?" And I was like, "Oh gosh, a long time ago, but let's get this boyfriend thing first, and then we'll do that." And and then a show just kind of popped in, just kind of came out of nowhere. So um, yeah, I made the decision to compete for the first time, um, and that's when everything in life came together for me. Everything. I attracted love. I dissolved a huge $20 million business, um, traveled across the country, placed in the show, and really just started moving away from things that weren't serving and fulfilling me and entering into the space that does. And I owe it to, well, the coach, of course, but the show really uncovered all of that for me, the fitness competition.
I love it. And you became friends with the feeling of fear instead of like literally running from it. Instead, you were like, nope, whatever you're giving me, I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna make the best of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that goes with the power of the mind and the mindset work and coaching and all of that, because it's just a constant overcoming fear, constant. It's and even when you're about to take stage, you have all these little doubts and you're prepared, and all along the way it's like every day is just one more day of becoming better, getting better, stronger mentally, and right up till the moment you step on the stage.
Now, let's be real, even the place you're at right now, you still face moments of fear, right? You're not perfect. You're not on some like stature where fear just doesn't tink at your window anymore.
No, and it's no, and yeah, and it's funny because I still have those days. And yesterday was one of them. I'm 6 weeks out of post. When I say out of post, um, my last show, and the body starts changing. You can hold on to it for a while, and then you just have to make peace with it and say, okay, you can't be stage ready all year long, but you have those mindset days where you're like, oh, 6 weeks ago I looked like this, and today, but then you just go back to all that work that I go back to all the work that I've done, and I get right back into the space of, okay, this is where I am today, and this is what we're working towards next. So
I love it so much. So let's kind of go back a little bit then. And where did your health and wellness, fitness, connection, obsession, passion begin? I feel like everyone has a different story of how they found it or connected to it. So you said yours was in the 20s. Was it before that you like loved working out and stuff, or where did it begin?
yeah, it's so interesting. I live in Connecticut, so we're Connecticut. Connecticut people are a little bit more, I don't, I'm just gonna say it, uptight than other parts of the country, right? And they're very boxed. And so my first job in high school was in a gym. Got my personal training certification before I was 20.
Oh my gosh.
And uh, even dial it even further back, though, I remember watching my aunt do these exercises in the morning. I watched her have her morning routine. So I watched her kind of train her mind, train her body, and she still does to this day, actually. We send each other little messages of what we're doing during our morning routines. Um, so my fitness journey goes all the way back to 20 years. And but what's interesting is how I left something I loved for so long. And I think so many of us do that. And that's where I bring the mindset and the personal performance to it, because I left something I loved for so long to kind of pursue all of these things that I was good at, because you can be good at many things if you're an entrepreneur, just a successful human. But you don't have that fulfilling feeling like you're serving your purpose or you're living your passion or anything like that. So it took me 20 years. I never left the fitness space in that I've always worked out, I've always trained my mind, my body. I've been in, different gyms everywhere I've lived, but I wasn't in it to the degree that I am now, that I truly love, that feels heart-centered.
Right, like you're aligned with it.
Totally aligned. Yeah. Yeah. And that took 20 years to come back to. And I'll say that, because you said something earlier about fear and, still having it and overcoming it. And people still have those, when I think sometimes when you're that entrepreneurial plus free spirit and you kind of just do your thing, there's a lot of people that don't intentionally want to make keep you safe or pull you back or whatever. But as I'm moving forward into this arena, the same thing that happened when I was building my real estate business is happening all over again. Can you really make money in this? Can you really? This is just a hobby. Should you really be doing this? All of those things that I hear every day, that you have to keep just moving forward and saying, yes, I wanted to do this for 20 years. I'm doing it, and just keep going.
I love it. You're using the tools that you have in your tool belt, right? Like you got this one on self-doubt, you got this one on naysayers, like you just have the tools at this point, which is
Yeah,
great, right? And you don't have to take 20 years like you'd say to learn them. You could learn them in a couple years, but it's actually the commitment of doing it that
right.
matters.
Or even just really having, some people go through life experiences quicker, faster than others. I think these life experiences led me along this way, and so here I am now, and I love being here because I do wake up every day and get to do what I love.
And you look like you are doing what you love because you're just like you just like light up when you talk about it.
Thank
So I
you.
love it. So then share with us that you said that you had left something else that you loved. You sold a multi-million-dollar business. I mean, let us know kind of the backstory on that because I love hearing entrepreneur or more so employee turned entrepreneur. So
Mm.
how was that for you?
So I don't know if I've ever really been an employee. I guess dial back years and years ago, I think I was at some point. I've always been a salesperson. So to some degree, salespeople are always their own
Yeah,
bosses, because you're paid for performance. Um, and I entered into real estate in 2009, when I had a big life shift, big, big, big life shift. I um, called a wedding off, had some financial, all of the stuff that can go along with. I didn't have a divorce because I wasn't married, but all of the financial. We had a business together. All of that, those layers, happened. And it was kind of at that moment where I said, I'm going to do what I want to do right now. And real estate was at that time something that I wanted to do. But it was also at that time where I was getting into real estate that I was also getting into understanding my spirituality and connectedness, and I became a Reiki practitioner. So I was kind of, while I was building the real estate business, I was also kind of building myself, working on. Somebody told me a long time ago, I don't remember who it was, one of my coaches. I've had coaches my whole for 20 years,
I love
probably
it.
plus. um, Somebody had said to me, work harder on yourself than you do your business, and your business will grow. So I never really worked on the business. I always just worked on myself. And I built a big business. But as I was building a big business, I learned that the sales part of it, the people part of it, was beautiful. And I loved it. And I was very, very good at it because it's all relationships, it's connectedness, it's relationships, it's meeting new people, it's serving people, it's helping people. All of that stuff I loved. And then you go and you think the next step is when you've hit oh the next level in what I was in real estate is to build a big team and start developing agents. But what with that came this, I want to say, masculine layer on this beautiful feminine woman. I was more wearing a masculine mask to build a business because there's all of those pieces when you have employees and you have agents and you're also serving clients and now you're in systems. There's all these things. And it suddenly I realized this is the service is for me. The business is making me feel like someone I'm not. So it wasn't forced. The dissolve of it was very organic, very natural. It happened fast, but I think, things are slowly then suddenly. And yeah, so within the past year, which my first fitness competition was last year. It was last May, which was when all of this sort of, well, during the prep, February, March was when all of this started. And my most recent one was in April of this year. Is when all of this, I want to say, beautiful kind of transformation started happening. So that's why I love sharing my fitness journey, because it's more of a life journey for me.
Yeah, like literally you stepping into your true lifestyle.
I made the decision to compete for the second time because I said, wow, the stuff that happened during the first show, I can't imagine what's going to happen this time. When the fat was melting off, so was the fat in my life. It was a very cool, very, very cool experience. And that's why I like to share my story, because so many people have these misconceptions about competing that it can cause illness and make you sick, and there's some negativity around that. But I believe it's the power of your mind too. So for me, it was the opposite. I got very, very healthy, very holistic, very clean lifestyle, and simplified a lot.
Yeah, I love it. And you went really basic to where you were just enjoying and loving every single day of what you were doing. And if you weren't, you were making adjustments to being
Right.
able to. So,
Course correcting. That's what I call it.
oh,
Course
I love it.
correcting.
I love that. So, for our listeners then who are maybe in beginner shoes of wanting to compete or maybe start their health and wellness journey, and they don't really know what to do next, or they don't really know any suggestions or tips to get them motivated enough to try, what would you suggest to them or share with them?
Well, first, I would say, first and foremost, I mean, I love talking with people about this. So anybody can reach out to me at any time. That's absolutely fabulous. The most important thing, I think, when it comes to fitness competing is to make sure, one, you have the right coach. The coach in your competition makes the world of a difference. So make sure you have a great connection with your coach, and he or she is really going to be there for you. And make sure when you're competing, if this is, competing is in your future, make sure you're competing for the right reasons. You don't need to compete to lose weight. There's so many, just if we're just talking about getting healthy and having a healthy way of living, there's so many different other ways to go about that versus the competition route.
Right, totally. I love it. So I love that you say get a coach too earlier, because I feel like the fact that you've had a coach throughout your life has probably helped you in so many different areas that you were inexperienced or just needed some like insight on or
Yes.
some support on, right?
And that's why I have gone into that um, arena space now, because even if it's not like, coach on a weekly, monthly basis, sometimes it's just a strategy call. Last week I was sharing that I just needed some guidance And so I called a couple of different people for a couple of different reasons. But often, it's a coach or a mentor that they can steer you down the right path and make sure you're staying on it.
I love it. Give you some, good insight that's not judgment or anything like that.
And they see what you don't see,
Yeah,
you know?
very much so. Yeah, outsider's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, what are you up to these days, Michelle? I know you were telling me about a mastermind or maybe a group or so. I would love for you to share with our listeners what you're currently working on and maybe ways for them to connect with you.
Yeah. So recently, I have started, I've completed my workbook. I built a workbook. It's geared towards women, um, because I love how I had the ability to kind of uncover my power. I love to say unleash my passion and turn it into a paycheck. And I love empowering women to do the same. So my workbook is in the design and production stages, and it will be such that women can kind of work through their own selves through self love and all of that. Um, I do have a monthly ongoing mastermind, and we talk about all of that as well. And people can connect with me on Instagram, which I love. It's Michelle Wininger _fit living. Um, and then right now I'm in the off season, so I am currently not competing again till April. But I am doing some fitness modeling, which came out of the last show, which is super exciting, and just taking some time to not be in competition mode, just kind of reset and recovery.
I love it. Just be for a little while.
Just be for a little while, even though, it's still training really hard to make sure that I come into the next season really strong and have a better physique, even better
I
physique,
was going to say, let's say even better, because
even
the
better
fact that you
physique.
have like a better physique right now is so true.
It's showing up better every time you step on stage. That's the beautiful part about being on stage, is that you're totally in your own zone, and that's what I love about fitness competing. You're really only competing with yourself. You're really only competing with yourself. It's really beautiful. Very, very supportive women on stage.
I love it. And it's such a journey and an experience to do for yourself, like you said. Talk about some confidence.
It's a journey. It's really about who you become in the process.
I love
Really,
it.
it's who you become in the process of stepping on stage.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I always ask my co host to wrap it up because I love to know, and I know my listeners do too. But what is something that you do on a regular basis that keeps you feeling inspired? Because obviously you've got a lot going on, girl, and things cannot always go our way. But what keeps you feeling aligned and inspired in your day to day?
This is not going to be a secret or a surprise. And I'm going to tell you why when I give you my answer. It's exercise.
Oh my gosh, so
It's
weird.
work. And here's what, well, one, because it makes me feel great. Um, and I'm going to give you three things because my boyfriend tells me all the time that everything I do is in threes. But isn't that like the spirit number? It just comes
Yes.
natural. Because I love it and it makes me feel good. It's also when I get deeper into meditation. I am in my own zone when I'm working out. And also, motion equals emotion. So for women, it gives us the ability to be fluid and in movement, which is um, when I'm most connected to my feminine. So it it completes me a lot every day. And every day I work out every day. I might not train and lift weights every day, but I work out every day.
Right, you're doing some kind of physical activity. You're
I
moving
do
your body.
something. I do something every day.
I love it.
Especially with two pit bulls. At least I'm walking.
Oh my gosh, girl, or being dragged.
True. Most often.
I love it so much. Well, it's been so awesome, Michelle. I've just loved your value, and I know our listeners will too. I've learned so much, and I just appreciate your time. So thank you for connecting with me. I'm so glad we got to.
Thank you.
Of course. So where can our listeners connect with you? I know you said that they can reach out to you on Instagram. Is that the best place to connect with you?
Yeah, Instagram is fabulous. I also I love Facebook as well. I'm still big on Facebook, but Instagram is Instagram or Facebook. Michelle Wininger on Facebook and Michelle Wininger _fit living. And then I'll keep you all posted on that workbook that can help everybody.
Most definitely. If this episode releases around the time that is live, I will also have that in the show link notes so everyone can access it from there. And it's been such a pleasure to get to know you. Thanks again, Michelle, so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too, girl. Gosh, guys, so I hope that episode just made you so excited inside. And not only that, but feel empowered to do anything and everything you've ever dreamed of. It may have taken Michelle 20 years to decide to go chase her fitness dreams, but it doesn't have to take you that long if you decide today to learn from somebody else's experience. Remember, guys, a life inspired stays inspired. Much love. I personally want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you loved it, please feel free to share it. Share it with a friend, your family, or even on your social media. I truly hope that within these episodes you find value that you can take away and apply to your own life. My whole life purpose is to help raise this universe's consciousness, and it's through this podcast that I'm able to truly help the many. If you love listening in and you're a true life-inspired junkie, please feel free to leave a review on iTunes, as that's the best way for me to get this podcast out to so many others. If you're interested in being featured on this podcast, please submit your request on my website, lifeinspiredpodcast.com. I truly thank you all from the bottom of my heart for listening in each week. It's because of all of you that I get to do these episodes, and I get to host this podcast live. So until another episode, much love.
You live a high life, limousines through your fantasies. You never knew it, but you were my lifeline. You got me drowning in the sea.